And greetings everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and we are back again. Week number 52. This is episode, I think, number 42, something like that for us. And we are back closing out in a big way with a lot of the big brains of Star Citizen on the show today. We've got a special guest also as well. We're really excited about. And I think I'm going to start out introducing him. Many of you guys know him, and we have been looking forward to having him on the show. And when I talked to him, he said, Griff, put me down for the last week. So I guess he wanted to go out with a big way. So we appreciate him coming on. And that is Space Tomato. Space, glad to have you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I had to be on this show. This topic is definitely a big one that I'm looking forward to. There's a lot going on next year. I love talking about speculation, so I had to be here.
That is awesome sauce. You know what? We keep getting these guys, Kimmy, Unique, you notice these guys that we get have these like great voices like him and Dig That. They've got these like deep resonating voices that boom through. They're like the James Earl Jones of Star Citizen for us, I guess. But anyway, no, dude, we're really happy to have you and appreciate you making the time to be here today. Next I will go up to Kimmy65. Back again. What's up, bro?
Space Tomato, Griff. Neat. Glad to see you guys. Yes, so much information. It's almost TMI in my opinion. But yeah, we gotta go. We gotta trudge through this, man. It's so much to cover. But it's a good thing. When we hear things back from CIG, especially on the state of the game and where it's going. Definitely, we're in on this one.
Good stuff. And last but not least, our legacy master, the man who's been around since this whole thing began in 2012, Mr. Unique. What's up, brother? How you doing?
All right, hello, gang. I guess that just means I'm really old and not pretty much.
No, it does not. It does not mean that. It does not mean that. Do me a favor, Unique. Can you tilt your camera down physically, the top of your laptop, just a little bit, because people. There you go. People are missing that shirt, brother. The Big Benny shirt. Okay, we cannot let that Big Benny shirt not be seen on the show today. No, it's good to have you back as well.
Just for the show.
Just for this. You keep it folded, nice and neat, sit on the side. I get you.
All wrapped up in plastic.
I get you.
Gotta have the bennies, man. Gotta have some bennies.
I get you. Well, again, it's really great to have everybody here. Easy, we see you. Good to see you. Holston Coop, also good to see you as well. Holston Hoop said, hi, hey, ho. And I guess he wasn't calling any of us a ho, so I guess I can approve his message going through there.
Good old typo.
That's Elfin Magic, man. I think that's the other thing.
Yeah, no. It's good to have you guys join us today for our last show of 2020. And 2021, I'm sure, could not come fast enough for many people. Not just because of all of the crazy things that have happened in 2021, but just because we have a lot to look forward to as Star Citizen backers. So let's hit on that just a little bit. Let's do a quick retrospective. And what I want to touch on since the last time we were together is 3.12. It's been out now for a little bit. It's had a little bit of time to mingle amongst the community. We've got it out of the PTU and into the PU. Space, let me ask you first. Have you had any chances to get in there and check out 312 yet?
Not as much as I would like. I'm disappointed in the amount of time I've had to experiment with it. From what I've gotten to experience, I've really enjoyed it. The refining especially is really great. It's a good patch, in my opinion. What I've noticed recently, though, is that the patches will be good for me for about a month, maybe a month and a half. And then I start having bigger problems, bigger glitches, more 30Ks, more crashes. So we'll see how it goes in terms of that sort of long scale kind of aspect. But overall, I think it's a solid patch as far as 2020 is concerned.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you? What have you had some time to do in 3.12?
Well, for me, it would be easy just to say Lagrange points because the aesthetic, the spacescaping, again, the aesthetics. But as I recently played in the game, there were some unforeseen things or not spoken of. The fact that we had 47 in the server and frame rates were really good. The fact that we played for quite a long time without a server crash. And here's the thing. We had a server crash. We were in a group or a team, and we actually spawned back to the ship that we were on. We were doing a mining detail, and we were on the Argo. we had a crash, and I went back in the game, and there I was, still on the ship with all my mates. So
you know what that means? You know what that means?
Oh yeah,
that means that you've been the luckiest guy in the world, because that's been in the game for 2 patches, and you just haven't had no crashes like that, because that has been in the game. So I'm glad that you got to experience it when it was working, because a lot of us was experiencing it when it would sometimes work, sometimes not work. So to your point, it is good to know that particular mechanic. You're right. It is good to know that mechanic is working in the game. You're absolutely right. Unique. Have you any time in 312 at all? This is the hardest man working.
I've been working a lot, but I was going to get this new Tobii 5 device for Christmas, and I was kind of waiting to try that out. I did get it on my laptop, and I started to fly around a little bit, but I think they changed some of the controls again, so I wasn't adept at flying it, but oh my goodness, the way it looks is beautiful. It hasn't crashed on me yet. I need to get back to it because I had a crash on my gaming PC after I got home. So I need to rebuild that so that all my tools or flight sticks and stuff are available to me. So
yeah, I have to chime in with Unique at 07 to him on that, because I have the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 as well, and it is seamless. Man, let me tell you, the FPS that I would kind of cringe with as far as going in there and feeling as though I need someone with me side by side to kind of clean out those drug labs. I was able to go in and feel so comfortable with it using the eye tracker, looking down hallways, panning, just using my eye movements. It felt really good. And I cleared that whole area by myself.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Well, I want to put out there that it says, and they kind of sell it as the eye tracker. I want to make sure everyone understands that it's also a head tracker. So it monitors your head movement and turns the camera, or watches where you're looking at the same time, and it does both simultaneously, which is amazing for a single device.
Yeah. So $230 US, guys. $230 US if you decide you want to go for it. So there you go.
It's worth it.
It's a nice peripheral. Yeah, it is. It's a nice peripheral, especially
50%. That would be an impulse buy.
No doubt.
And you get a 10% discount before January 5th if you go through CIG.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, please DM me, guys, in chat, everyone in chat, if you have any questions about it, or I'm more than glad to help out, do some tech support for you.
No, I'm saying skip the next mid-sized ship. Get it.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Okay,
good point.
I mean, it's gotten nothing but praises so far from people who've purchased it, and they're pretty happy with it, and they don't think it's just one of those gimmicky items to add to the game. So that's good to know. That's very good to know. Going to give some shout outs to some people. Dark Knight 75, we saw you come in. Coffee saw you come in. Ken saw you come in. Ken was Dark Knight was one of the people who hung out with us last night. Several people hung out with us last night. We did a little mining op. Just to have some fun while it was vacation time. Kimmy had suggested that, and I think we were on the game for like 5 hours. I don't know what time they went to bed last night, but 5 hours was too much for me.
AM.
But they were, it was. They went 8 hours. I forget that. Okay, so anyway, they were on late last night. Let's jump into it. Oh wow, D Billings, thank you so much for that Prime subscription. We really appreciate that. Thank you for kicking us off in a really cool way for the end of the year. We appreciate that. I've got to change the title of our show, so I'm going to throw the first piece out here. In 312, let me ask this, and you guys can answer this if you want to answer it. Do you think 312 was a patch that was satisfactory? In other words, there were a lot of people who thought that 311 and 312 were going to be kind of thin because they were expecting so much, and then once we got them, it seemed like people were pretty satisfied with it. Do you think that CIG is putting out enough content in these patches at this point? Tomato, I'll start with you. Do you think that they're satisfying in the sense of what's coming out, or do you think that the expectations are greater?
I think it's complicated because they've set the bar for themselves at this point. I would say if you were going by what we expected at the beginning of this year, then 312 would have been a disappointing patch, but given what we got throughout the year, 312 definitely seems like a much better, denser, more packed full of actual content kind of patch. Between the massive visual changes we gotten from the clouds, the underlying changes from things like the reputation systems, and the actual sort of gameplay creating changes like the Idris defense missions and things like that. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's kind of hit all the boxes that it needed to for a solid patch.
Okay. Unique, how about you?
Well, I first would like to go back to last year when they put out the new schedules and said what they were going to be delivering through the year. Mm-hmm. And it was the first quarter was a big patch. The second quarter would be a smaller patch. The third quarter would be a big, and the fourth quarter would be a small. So I'm referencing that. Mm-hmm. So for this fourth quarter, that's supposed to be a small patch, I would say home run. This was a really amazing small patch with the clouds and the reputation system. The first level coming in is really, really good. A bit more stability on the server, and they're supporting the Toby on top of that. So, a few ships, I think, with the visual fixes that they've put in. And I don't even say fixes. I'm sure this is not the end of it. It's a pretty amazing patch.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you? Do you think it's thick or thin, or you think they hit it on point?
I'm sticking with thick, and the fact that they had so many features put into this patch. I wasn't even able to go in and use everything or interact with everything. Just last night was my first time I was able to go to the refinery area and just to see how massive how much work they put into that.
Yeah.
And the tractor beam tool, that's something I've yet to try and use. But yeah, when you're talking about bringing in new backers and the fact that they put in these markers or I call them POEs, points of entries now, when, new backers buy a new ship and they walk towards it, and then you have these little golf balls that highlight where to enter the ship. I think those are nice little touches that will help new backers. But yeah, it's chock full of features that when you look at it down the line, like for example, the cloud tech, it's going to transform or actually mature into your gas giant. So it's underlying and foundational pieces in this patch that's going to expand out to further iteration of the game itself. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of detailed features, especially with the mining UI.
Okay, good point. Well, I guess my vote on this would be that I think CIG, in light of 2020, in light of COVID, in light of a lot of things that took place this year, I think that they delivered. Obviously, we always have greater expectations on things, but I also think that, at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of uncertainty. The whole Squadron 42 issue came up. And that seemed to be over the summer getting rectified little by little. But by the time we got to 311 and 312, I personally think that they did very well. I'm going to real quick go down the list here on the RSI site. You guys know that they actually have a portion there that describes 312. And so I just want to touch on some of the things that came up in particular. And you guys can tell me which one is the one that probably impacts you the most as a player. One was the refineries. Kimmy mentioned that, the melting pot. The other one was called Death and Glory, which was dealing with the Idris being implemented into the game for security measures.
Oh, yeah.
The Cloud 9 was talking about the cloud tech that is coming to the game and the Lagrange points. Birds of War was the Talons that were introduced into the game, both the Talon and Talon Strike. Field Manipulator was as you mentioned, Kimmy, the tractor beam gun, the handheld tractor beam gun. Weapon zeroing was introduced into the game. We knew that they did it, as Unique mentioned, graphic enhancements. The VTech, they made the planets and everything look just a lot better. And then they worked on a big one was the mining UI. New mining UI came out for the mining ships. And then they mentioned this thing about, there were two things. They actually put the Toby eye tracker as one of the new implementations that came into the game, because even though something similar was that in there before. But they also mentioned this thing about battle stations, and I want to talk about that a little bit, because they were theming out 312 as this thing called the Assault on Stanton. And so you guys know there was supposed to be this whole Xeno piece that was supposed to be being introduced into the game, that would be a community effort toward fighting against this particular group of people. So let me start with Space Tomato. Out of all those things, which one is the one that probably impacts you the most, or the one that you're digging at all that?
Well, I guess I can't really speak for the Xenothreat thing, since it hasn't exactly happened yet. I think that would be my answer if we'd experienced it, but I don't know exactly what it's going to sound like yet. I guess, one thing, I don't know if you mentioned it, I don't think I heard it, but I think the thing that impacts me most would be refining, actually. Because I would say 90% of the time I'm playing this game, I'm playing in a group, I'm playing on stream with other people, and we're looking for things to do that impact the most amount of people. And that refining really helps to expand the mining gameplay loop and allow you to start to get cargo haulers involved, get groups of scanners involved, different mining ships, like all this stuff to kind of bring group gameplay together in better ways than you could before. So I think that one would go to refining for me.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you?
Well, definitely the mining aspect of the game and the UI that envelops it. Now we're able to see Quantanium, and we're able to see the different mineral that's deposited in these containers, and then there's a timer now on Quantanium, and that gives you a window or time and space when you have to leave from the moon or wherever you're mining to get to that refinery station in a safe manner.
Okay.
But yeah, I still got to say that the ships that's one of the essential keys to bringing in new players and backers. The fact that we got these ships, the Nomad, isn't the Nomad somewhere in there in that factored in there?
Not that I know of. It was really the Talons that were listed in here.
Yeah. But the fact that we have those two ships and they're part of the the wholesale of these options of getting a new ship or flying a new ship, and it supports the PvP a little more as a variation. But overall, a lot of this had a lot of foundational things that's going to enhance the game, especially with the user interfaces across the board. When you're talking about now, you have these development tools that will go in, and so that means as you expand this out, these user interfaces are locked in, they're solid, they're stable, and they're going to be consistent across the board, which will mitigate these bugs and issues because now they're solid in the game, they're optimized, and it's the right way to do things. They just need that time to get this in. So it's a huge benefit for us when we're talking about now these new interfaces that we're going to be using.
Which is basically the building blocks tech, right? The building blocks tech that they worked on, right?
Elevator panels,
right,
and such, and the user interfaces that's going to be incorporated with ships, but mainly the elevator panel updates and the UI that we're looking at now.
Okay,
they're building blocks.
Okay, cool. Unique? Anything else off that list that sticks to you?
Well, I do like the building blocks. It's the tech that's making things seem smoother, more realistic. And I do look forward to the gameplay, like inside a ship, engineering and stuff. So all of the keyboard patterns and stuff, you'll be able to possibly click and move and change the widgets around to increase fuel flow or, reroute a power or something like that. That's pretty good. But I do like introduction of being able to get the Idris to spawn. Okay.
Yes.
What I'm thinking about is mining and refining, obviously huge for the gameplay. It's where everything starts. But if the birth of a missile is mining and refinery to build a missile, the death of the missile is being launched from some fighter into something like an Idris, right? That's your full circle. And I think by putting that in, it gives the people who love to fight and don't like to mine something to do and practice on, which is great. Yes, the whole creating of the missiles and stuff isn't there yet. I think it's sort of a meeting in the middle kind of thing. That's the end thing. Get the fighters got something new to do. Got the refinery, got something for the miners new to do. And they're creeping. You can feel the creeping towards completion of that lineage from birth to destruction of something created. And then the rebirth of that. And I think that's exciting. Okay.
Sounds good. Hey, Grizz, good to see you. Jad says, Talons can be summoned on planetary vehicle spawns. Big implications for mining. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
Security detail.
Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional or not, Jad. So we'll have to find out whether that's a bug. That would be really interesting.
That works. 100 series, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe they are allowing it to spawn then, if there's another series of ships doing it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, but can you actually do anything with a 100 series ship?
Well,
I mean, we did some
cargo?
transportation when we were doing so on my channel. One of the things that we try to do is with the external inventories, the rock miner, and then a couple ships, we get a full circle of mining minerals, taking them out of the rock, putting them in a ship to fly them back to a station and sell them all at the same time.
Production.
Yeah, so we would spawn the 100 series down at the outpost and use that as our scanning and transport ships.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
small operation, but it works. Okay.
Yep.
A little innovation there.
It works is another question, but we tried it.
Okay, fair enough.
They're also good targets for a Talon. So.
Listen, don't start talking about my origin ships over there, Unique. Do not start on my origin ships now. You don't want to get me started.
Delivery that has the bullseye.
Yeah, okay.
Aim here.
All right, let's go ahead and jump to our next topic here. And that was, as you guys know, as we went into 312, there was a letter that came out from the chairman that was posted on the RSI website from Chris Roberts. And he opens up that letter. It's opening up with these interesting quotes. He was quoting Kennedy on the last one. This time he's quoting Dickens. He says, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times," from The Tale of Two Cities. And he uses it as a comparison to saying the difficulties of this year, obviously things such as COVID that affected, just people everywhere, and of course affected the gaming community. Many of you guys know that several of the gaming communities or gaming companies literally could not continue to work because of COVID. They weren't prepared, or many of them got delayed even more because of the transitions that many of them had to do just to keep their employees working. Fortunately, CIG kind of had a structure that allowed them to transition to it a lot easier, and they were able to still maintain working. As you guys know from watching ISC and SCL, you saw that many of the times folks were working from home. But in this letter, Chris gives out a lot of information he does a year in review, talking about 3.9, where he talks about the fact that Microtech's moons were introduced. The player inner thought was prison gameplay. That was in the first quarter of the year. The next quarter of the year in 310, he talks about the fact that they worked on Atmosphere, the new player trading app, which 10th Sigma would love to be here for giving money to each other. Body dragging was brought in as a first step toward medical and bounty hunting. And then you guys know in 311, force reactions got brought in, the cargo stations, even though they weren't working, they were put into the game. The armistice zones changed. And then throwable objects such as grenades and stuff was introduced. And then, of course, we just talked about 312, what was introduced there. Out of this year in review space, and when we look at the whole year, one of the things that we hear people say quite often, in fact, let me tap into you, because I got this from you, from one of your videos you did. You did a video just recently saying how there was someone who posted a comment on your website or in one of your comment areas saying that there had been nothing new brought into Star Citizen into years. You know which video I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that in relation to what we have here, and maybe just share your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, the crux of the video that I made, the whole point of that video, originally was going to be, hey, look, there's actually gameplay. But I think it turned into something more important in that it was a video that explored how people don't have the same definition of what gameplay is. So we could look at this year in review and we could see something like, okay, yeah, the throwable system has been refined, or there's new flight model on the in their list of things they did this year, and we'll be like, yes, this is. See, it gets really generalized, but I say, hey, yeah, this is new gameplay that they've added. What I mean is this is a new means for me to create gameplay for myself. And I think that there's different types of players. There's players that really need to be fed that gameplay to understand what they can do. And then there's the type of player who, had a blast with games like Half-Life because they took things and they did things they weren't supposed to do. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference in what people would call gameplay, but I think gameplay is still being added.
Yeah. I've got something here, and Zomax throws out something here. He throws in the statement of gameplay versus content, right?
Yeah.
And Unique, let me bounce this off of you, because I know that there's a dynamic of content that we want to see come into the game, where we have greater things in relation to mission givers and things that we can be doing using the game mechanics, particularly for ships that have certain jobs. For example, I've got a reclaimer. I would love to be able to take that ship out and start doing some form of salvage, right? But my question to you is, the universe, the persistent universe, is a sandbox. And a sandbox is basically a place where you go make your own thing happen too. So do you think sometimes players are kind of missing that sandbox side of this thing, that they're just kind of looking, as Space Tomato said, some people may need to have things fed to them. But do you think that they're forgetting about the fact that there are people who go out there every week and do stuff and have fun and find ways to keep the game fresh for themselves? Do you think that people are forgetting a sandbox dynamic, or maybe they're not even familiar with the sandbox element because they've been playing standalones or certain types of games that have always given them missions?
No, I think people understand what the sandbox is.
Okay.
And my thing would be, and the Reclaimer's a good example, you might be in the sandbox, but you really do hope that you got your little shovel and bucket, that there's actually sand in the box. Okay. That's the only way you can build a sand castle. So having ships like the Reclaimer are great. It shows they can build the big ships, but basically it's just a big target right now. It's a lot of gameplay for people who want to shoot big ships. It is zero fun for the person flying the big ship. The ship has nothing to do, right? It can only be run as cargo because it happens to have a large amount of cargo. But you have to come up with all kinds of other things to do with it than its intended purpose. So since I can't go out and reclaim anything, that's sort of sand that's missing in the box. So hopefully in 2021, there's a little bit more sand put in the box, a little less ships this coming year. I would really like that, like close the loop on a couple of ships. That would be amazing.
Yeah. But I think Gigi just kind of also said what you just said. She says, but it's also their job to give us gameplay and content, which is a combination of their responsibility. And I would agree. I mean, that is where it comes from. It's not just enough to just say, here's some space, here's some ships, go have at it, right? There has to be some purpose that's out there in the game.
Absolutely. Bringing up, sorry, just
go ahead.
Going back to what I was saying, though, that the idea that adding features that just support gameplay isn't enough. You have to add narrative. You have to add locations. You have to add the stuff that's going to drive those features forward. So, and that's, in that video, I try to make a point to say, I'm not disagreeing with the guy. Right. But I think I think there's a disconnect when people say, I think it sounds better to say, I want more gameplay next year rather than to say, I want healing devices that allow me to pick up my friends when they've been downed on the ground next. Like, it's just, it's much easier. Yeah.
Right. So, Kimmy, I'm going to give you the hard question of the day. Is it fair to demand all this on a game that is not finished?
Is it fair to demand? I think it's more of a thing of looking at what is going on and seeing the reality of it. It's about understanding that this is a Kickstarter project. This is a Kickstarter project that is taking an engine and building out these developmental tools and laying down the foundational work. And so when you say demand, it's better, as opposed to saying, I just want content. It's almost like the parent has to go to the child and say, Junior, what would you like today? What would you like to see in the game, Junior? You kind of want to say, not to say they're a child, but you want to look at you want to look at the game as it is and see what's going on. And this project demands that. This is one thing that demands from their backers. You see the development. You have to study the development. You have to see what's going on. And then when it comes to what you were saying, Griff, to your point, to your question, it's a thing of speaking specifically on what you would like to see, not just to say you generalize something and say, I want to see more content. Okay, tell us, what do you want to see? You have the forum, you have Spectrum to use as a tool to say, I would love to see salvage because this is why I like to see salvage, because it will add to the narrative, to the economy system. It would add into the recycling of materials. This is something I want to do because it's different than mining. When you speak on that basis and you come with an objective statement, it makes more sense that people can see that, okay, this is what's going on. It brings in the reality of what's happening with this project. It is what it is. You still have to do your homework. You still have to understand what's going on with the project. You can't just come up with a summary of saying, I don't have what I want, so I want more content.
So you don't think it's an unfair
asking for.
You don't think it's an unfair question, and when people say that, you know, they or I shouldn't say demand. Let's just say people want more content. My question is it unfair to want more content on a game that is unfinished?
Well, I'm
yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Or you give me a yes or no?
Yes, you can. That's what
Nordic.
Thank
you for the subscription. 3 months. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nordic.
This project is all about. Interjecting, adding in comments, and speaking on what you would like to see in the game.
Kimmy, you make a great politician because you ain't saying yes or no. You said everything except either one. You're saying yes. It is.
This is what it's about.
What? Yes.
This is what this project is about.
No.
Speaking up.
No, I'm asking: is it an unfair question? Are you saying yes, it is unfair, or no, it's not unfair?
It's not unfair.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, that's what I was trying to get to.
Because you have interaction. You have a voice. This is what this project is all about.
Dark Knight says Kimmy for president.
Oh boy, I don't want that job.
But no,
it is about, you know, speaking up and interjecting. It's not just, but then at the same time, you don't just be negative about something or just generalize.
Yeah.
Be specific in what you're asking for, you know, in that regard, and do your homework with this project. This is what it's about. Okay. And when you do your homework, you will understand a little more of what's going on.
Okay. I have a different opinion. And I agree a little bit of what everyone has said. I honestly do. I do agree a little bit with everyone has said. I do believe that there are expectations. I think because we're consumers, there are expectations. When we spend money on something, we expect something in return for it. And that's just the nature of things, right? And especially when we buy something and we've paid for it and we're kind of saying, okay, well, where is it? You know. But I also, in the back of my mind, this is me, guys, so don't throw the rocks. I'm just saying. But for me, the thing that keeps me sane, the thing that keeps me sane about the game is remembering the fact that the game is not finished. If this was a finished game and this stuff wasn't working, I'd be barking like a maniac. But the fact that I know, even if I do want something in particular in the game, I also am learning how much one thing connects to something else in the game. I like salvaging. But I also know that that's tied to drones, and drones are tied into other ships. And so if I just want my salvaging, that means other aspects of the game have to be fixed in order to work as well. And so I've just kind of gotten into a point now where, to protect my sanity, folks, I'm not saying anything's wrong with those of you who disagree. I'm just saying, to protect my sanity, I have to continue to see progress in the sense of the development. Yes. And I also have to tell myself it's not finished, you know. And I also have to look at the history of gaming and how long it takes to make any other game. Which is going to lead to my next question to you guys in relation to what we saw take place with Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh no!
Now, bear with me here. I'm not throwing rocks at it because most of the people who I've talked to who played in the PC experience have been pretty happy with it. They feel most of what they've seen in relation to bugs are kind of like the typical bugs that you would see with any game on a PC level. We know what the fiasco was in relation to consoles. We know that was a fiasco. We know that there wasn't a lot of transparency in relation to the consoles. But there were some people, even PC players, who said they should have waited another 3 to 6 months and it would have been cool. Now, my question to that is that being said in retrospect? Because if they had said that a month beforehand, would people have lost their minds and said, here we go again, they're delaying the game? And I'm saying that in relation to Star Citizen, because we're going to get into what Chris said in relation to Squadron 42, because there's a new piece that people are raising up about his comments about Squadron 42. So, Tomato, you raised your hand first. I'll throw it at you right now. You know, what happens when we put something out and it's not there?
Well, I have a lot to say about Cyberpunk.
Okay.
I'm one of the people. I'm not going to get into this. I promise. I just want to say I'm one of the people who I've played it on PC. I had fun. I've also played it on Xbox Series X. Now I'm currently playing it through that, and I'm having fun. But the game needed years more work. I would not have taken 6 more months. I would have taken like 1 to 2 more years. Like there are some foundational issues I have with that game compared to what it was meant to be, compared to what Cyberpunk 2020 is compared to what Pondsmith says that this fiction is, but I won't get super deep into that. Your question was if we should be learning something from the idea of delaying something too late.
Yep.
And this is in regards to Cyberpunk, or
well, I'm saying, you know, there was a great amount of anticipation for Cyberpunk, right? I mean, skip the hype. I mean, just general anticipation. CD Projekt's Red's reputation, The Witcher. We know it's going to be a good game. We saw plenty of demonstrations of things that said, "Hey, this is what's going to happen." But then when it gets delivered, from my understanding, I haven't bought the game yet. I do want to buy it. I said I'd wait. But I read some people who wrote a list of the things that they had promised that would be in the game that weren't in the game, that still aren't in the game. And so my question is, you know, is this something to learn in the sense of what we're asking for from CIG? Because we know CIG has also put forth an ambitious project. You know, is this something for us to kind of take note of, or do we just treat them as two separate things?
Nothing's ever in a vacuum, right?
Okay.
Like if I don't know, if something goes wrong with a truck Toyota's releasing and like it's super public and you see the exact same things happen with that as we see happening with Star Citizen, I would hope people would draw the parallel, because like the video I did a couple of months ago, this isn't just about games, it's about projects, and the same things in video game development you can see in a mobile operating systems development or something. So I would definitely say, like, view what happened with Cyberpunk and then think about how that could happen with Squadron 42, and it would be so much worse, so much worse, because of what Squadron 42 has already been through. I'm not saying they can use that as an excuse, because at this point we should be pretty close to something with Squadron 42, but I do think that that's something to consider.
Kimmy, Cyberpunk, Anthem, Fallout 76. These were all published by major companies that we would have never expected to run into this problem. I mean, even though, and Colossal mentions it in chat, but a lot of this has to do with the publishers, right? He says the publishers. But still, these are companies with major reputations that made this faux pas. I mean, you would think after what we saw happen with No Man's Sky, that everybody would have said, okay, we're not going to let that happen again. And yet and still, we still had these major companies who pushed out products that weren't ready, and then we saw what happened in response to that. Is Chris Roberts taking on a lot of heat here because of this whole thing of, now he's saying with Squadron 42, it'll be ready when it's ready. We're not going to give any dates or anything. We want to make sure it's ready before we finally talk about this game.
Well, you know that old saying, out of the frying pan and into the fryer. Chris is refusing to go into the fry vat. He's refusing to go into it by doing this, and it's the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a change. There's going to be a major change that's being required. What you're basically crying out for is the fact that the gaming industry has to change. It has to get better, because we as gamers are far too intelligent to keep receiving these type of underperforming games and products. And it's not the fault of the developers or the developers themselves, but it's also it's the investors. And it's not to point fingers and say that's the one thing that's causing the issue. They invest. 07. It's a thing of, you know, they lend the money and they want a return on their investment, and that narrative has to change, or else no one is going to win. We're on the cusp of what Chris is doing. It's going to change the industry in regards to how we want these games to be developed. This is all we're seeing, a cycle that needs to be broken. That's all. As we see now with Cyberpunk, or I call it CP 2077, there's class action lawsuits that's out there now. Initially, before that, when they delayed it again, there were sparks of death threats. I'm like, people, calm down. It's a game, but we need better. We have to look for something better. And if it means that we have to go Kickstarter and really become patient people and what it takes to develop these games, then we have to wait for these AAA games to come up to a level that's going to satisfy or exceed our expectations, because we become far too intelligent and want more demanding and challenging games. Right now, the way the state of the game development industry is, it's underperforming. It's never going to satisfy you. You and me both, we all have these Steam-based catalog games that's sitting around that we bought on the Steam sale, winter sale for $5, $10, $15, and we don't even play them. That's the state of the gaming industry, people. Wake up. We're going to have to wait and let them do it right. If not, everything is going to be CP 2077 and all the things that Griff mentioned. We gotta understand it's got to be revolutionized and it's got to be changed. Period. So that's where we are. And I applaud Cloud Imperium Games for taking the time to make the best damn space universe sim ever, because that's what it's going to take. Because when it's all said and done, this is going to be talked about for decades after its growth, life, and maturity and depth of this project. It's going to be talked about for decades.
I hope for the right reasons.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the last part to Unique, because Unique has a background in programming and developing, and he has a different insight on this also, because he also was in this from the very beginning. And someone asked the question, well, how much longer will it be delayed? And I think Colossal responded to that and saying, well, technically it hasn't been delayed. It has been postponed. I will say that. 2015, 2016, we were given dates. I'm sorry, for 2014 and 15, but that was for Squadron 42.
They did put the number on the trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what they did. Yeah, they actually did say it at that time. Yeah. Now, here's my question to Unique. Unique, 2012, the announcement is 2020, 8 years. Is 8 years too long for a AAA game?
Absolutely not. There's no one will say that a AAA game takes less than 10 years. And I'll be the first to get on Mr. Roberts about things I don't like still not delivering my robot repair guy. Okay. However, I don't want anybody to be sick. I don't want anybody to die. This is a worldwide issue with COVID. I give all across the board, the gaming industry manufacturers, a 9-month to a 1-year pass. Okay. And even longer if COVID, these shots don't work. That's not their fault. That's not our fault. Okay. So we have to expect at least a 9-month delay on games across the board, which is for Cyberpunk, the one thing they have that out. I don't know why they didn't take it. Okay. So I will say that they should have took it.
Wow.
Right. And nobody would have complained. Yes. It's like, because of COVID, we could slide. They could have made a better game.
Yes.
But you're seeing the difference between studios that have investors and have a limit on how much they will invest versus Chris Roberts, who apparently has limitless money available to him because we keep sending it to him for the development, continued development. So he can wait because we keep sending money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But, you know, this is where I disagree with Kimmy. He's right that a change needs to be made. However, under the AAA game manufacturers thing, when they only get like $25 million to invest to build something, that's a deadline in itself. You're not getting more money. Something has to come out. And because when they press it,
I agree with that.
It out, you send your money in as an Xbox player or a PC player or whatever. That's what happens. You send the money in, you get it. Right. And they've got the money. They're not giving it back to you. It doesn't matter whether they promise something or not to promise something, because every time they scroll down and click X on that EULA that you didn't read, you're accepting as is. Every one of them is as is. And so you've already accepted it. You can't actually win that lawsuit.
Yeah. And it is a tough situation. The balance between publisher, developer, investor, as Kimmy mentioned, it is a factor, and it is a business. I agree with you, Tomato, when you say that they should have taken the extra time. But my understanding is from the industry that they had pressure on them. Part of the pressure was holiday season. They were looking at launching this thing on 2 brand new platforms, on Xbox and PS, the next generation machines. And if Cyberpunk didn't come out, there was no real big title to launch across with those. So both Sony and Microsoft were giving them heat as well. And unfortunately, the community ends up suffering. The community ends up suffering in the process of this. Now, I'm going to mention this, and we're going to go to the next subject. But there are some people who say, to fix the problem, we need to stop pre-ordering stuff. Because to Unique's point, once they get that money, it is a done deal. So I'd be really curious to see what you all think about that. But because when we pour in millions and millions and millions of dollars, there's no pressure to get the game done now because they've already got the revenue even before the game comes out. But that's a whole nother argument. So
yeah, but if we don't pre-order, they'll just release the game before it's finished. And then just start.
It still gets stuck, right?
Every month.
Right.
We'll complete the game
either way, right? That's true, because that is the other side of what has happened in the industry. So it is a monster. Okay, well, let's move on. We talked about. Let me ask about let me talk about this. If you guys didn't see it, the financials were included in Chris's letter of the chairman. So if you're curious about how the money goes and what the numbers are like and whether we got more people, less people, they really did a really nice breakdown this year. It's much more user friendly to read. So feel free to take a look at that when you guys get time. They also talked about the explosive growth in players. Kimmy just talked about that. That there are more people who are in the game playing it now. Much of that has come from everything from the free flies to the more content that has been added for people who've been playing the game. So I think they said they've quadrupled in the amount of time that people are playing the game. So let's go ahead and jump out of this and go to the roadmap. And if you guys want to follow along with us, our co-hosts here have all brought up the roadmap. You guys know that the roadmap came out this week along with the new tracker, and it gives us a breakdown on 3.13, which is supposedly our final patch, hopefully our final patch before we go to 4.0. I'm going to go to Space Tomato first on this one. There are a lot of things that were listed on here, and many of them were some pretty cool things, I thought. Tomato, is there anything in particular that stood out for you? Give me 2 items off of that list that stick out to you for 3.13.
Well, there are things on here that I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. And then there are other things on here that I've been waiting for a long time. So they are much more satisfying. The last one here, which I haven't really looked into, I've skimmed most of this so far. I haven't had much time. The convert legacy data management to iCache. I'd be interested in finding out more about what that is. You know, you see iCache and it's like a bright red blinker. Like I want to know more.
Right.
But the things I'm most interested in actually are pretty trivial. It's the new asteroids and the cave entrances.
Why that?
They've shown the cave entrances, the fissures and the sinkholes. They showed, I want to say, more than 2 years ago now. A year and a half. Yeah, almost 2 years ago, I think they've shown it. So they've had it working in the background. There's something that they spent a lot of time getting to work, and I'm thinking it's got to be maybe supporting vehicles underground, and then B, maybe the ability to put missions inside the cave. It's not on the roadmap, and I haven't seen on the monthly reports, but I'm going to keep a lookout in the December monthly report to see if they talk about missions in caves, because that would be a decent addition, I think, to see with that. And then the other one is the new asteroids. I think one of the things that I expect to see with mining someday that we just don't even think about right now is the idea of having asteroids that are huge, you know, let's say a kilometer across, and mineral veins in those asteroids are little pockets of minerals that you have to mine out by either landing on this asteroid or by hovering near it with your Orion. And so this sort of them focusing on putting in new asteroids, I think, is going to be a good step in the variance around these stations. And also, you know, this will probably help with asteroids in the Aaron Halo belt and the new asteroid field they're putting in Pyro. So that'll be interesting to see too.
Okay. Very quickly, guys, I'm going to put into the chat a link. I just put it in there. We're doing a survey for what you want to see in the game. If you guys could click on that and do it, you can put down 4 out of 12 options of things that you want to see. This is a live survey that's up, and we're going to show it to you in a little bit, and we can see what everybody really wants to see happen in the game. So I just put the link in there under Soul Citizens. click on that survey real quick while we're talking, fill it out for us, and we're going to give you guys the results on what people think is important for 2021. Kimmy, give me a couple items off that list for you on the roadmap that stand out.
Oh wow. Okay. The fact that I saw quantum on the list, quantum simulation. Essentially, that's the economy system. And I can read it real quick. It's revealed at CitizenCon 2019, the quantum simulation will serve as the background economy for Star Citizen. Thousands of unseen simulated entities will carry out trade, commerce, piracy, and security to populate and inform other game systems. So what that translates to is the fact that now we will see supply and demand go up and down based on players' interactions and what they do. And this also will include the 90% of NPCs that we do not see in the game.
Okay, now are you seeing that in 313? Are you seeing that in 313? I'm missing that.
Oh, I thought we were doing the roadmap. Okay,
yeah, we are. Yeah, you're doing the tracker. I'm doing the 313 for 313. Yeah, no problem. 313.
All right.
I'll give you a couple seconds to look at it, and I'll come back. You okay? Fine. You good? Okay.
Well, as to what I have to agree with Space Tomato, the new asteroid Stanton system. That's one, and you said two, and the other one will be finally the Merlin constellation docking. For me, that was one of the very first ships I ended up getting and backing on, and the fact that it did not work. Now that opens up a new sort of content or gameplay where you can now use that ship as a true reconnaissance or an assistant ship or a backup ship to help you out if there's an enemy attacking you. Someone can get into that ship, and then it's now, instead of a 1-on-1 situation, it's a 2-on-1. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And to what Space Tomato mentioned about iCache and saying, well, what is it? It's basically your inventory caching they will now have a persistence. It will allow you to have true persistence in the game. So basically your armor, your bullets, your energy cells, your weapons, those will fall under the category of inventory caching, as well as minerals and items. Now that things will be either static, meaning they stay the same, or they become dynamic. Basically, they will change. So, for example, you get into the game, you have a clip of 30 bullets in your clip. You do a mission, you expend half of those. You have 15 bullets in your clip. You get out of the game, you come back 4 weeks later. You come back, you have that same gun with the 15 clips in it. That's an example of the true persistence because of inventory caching. But it also expands out to so many disciplines in the game, such as a true economy system, which is going to be supplied by quantum. Those minerals, based upon how much you take from a system, there becomes a demand for them, and then the value goes up. Now, Tony Zorvek can take.
Wait! Don't go too far. Don't go too far, because we got two items.
And then you can use that for the economy system. So iCache is basically your dynamic and static states of the game. Dynamic mean it will change, and then it will write up to the static, which becomes solid in the game and stay that way until you dynamically change it again. So they have a tracker on you. So it will serve to say what your state of player and what your state of your items are in game as you play it and make those changes. So iCache is huge, and it's great to know that it's coming first quarter.
Well, so I want to go back to that. The reason I was confused about it is because I'm not sure if this is actually iCache, in the same way that when they did server OCS, they also had it split into different segments. So
I was going to touch on that. Yeah, it's a transition over from the legacy data that they're moving over to it. So it's the first iteration.
So this is the full.
It's the first iteration. Yeah, it's the first iteration of them moving everything over to it. Okay. Yeah, but and like you said, like with socks, they'll keep tweaking it, as we go on. Yeah. But to Kimmy's point, this is the first big step into moving into having the inventory caching going.
And I think it's really important. They don't have it here on the roadmap, and that's gonna mess them up. I'm telling. It happens every single time, but it's really important to tell people this is the first iteration of it. This is not going to be the full iCache. This is probably going to have some stuff that's missing that we expect.
Well, think of it this way, Space Tomato. The fact that we only have Stanton, and then when you start adding on all these new systems, guess what? all these other items will start to come under the fold of iCache as we discover them, or they're revealed upon being placed in these systems and planets and moons. So it's a continual iteration of it as they gather and build out the universe, because we're going to find these variables and these exotic minerals and creatures and such. So
yeah, but I think Tomatoes,
it's a continual thing.
But I think Tomatoes' point is the fact that the community, because it's only a 2-line description, they will think that the full thing is in, and all of a sudden now we have all this caching in the game, when we know that they said that it was going to take, because originally they told us that we may not see iCache until the fall.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we don't want people
June.
Well, June.
In June.
Right.
Yes.
But my point is, we don't want the community to be thinking, again, everything comes in stages, like we were saying earlier. Everything comes in stages, and this is just kind of the first introduction. It's promising, though, because I definitely didn't expect to see it in first quarter of next year.
That's why it made me second guess, because I was like, wow, that's early.
Yeah. Unique. Let me jump to you. What on 3.13 on that list sticks out for you? Give me a couple of them.
I'm liking the surrender in the law system. So if they can do that,
bounty,
that moves some of the person-to-person gameplay forward. I do like the individually selectable missiles for firing. I think that's really good for moving combat forward a lot. Of course, the ship-to-station docking. Those are huge steps forward in really improving the gameplay. It's those little things that help open up the game a lot more.
That's good. My vote is going to be, you just touched on, all of you guys hit on the ones, I like them all. Ship to station docking, really now, because these bigger ships now can have a means to come to different stations and park themselves where they're limited right now. The other thing, though, was hacking. I don't know if you guys saw that. But hacking is now going to allow people to break into people's ships, which is something that we had not had yet. So for people who want to do the piracy dynamics of the game, if hacking is implemented as a means to either get control of a ship or access a ship or even locations, it'll be interesting to see how they implement that into the game. So I'm curious to see where that goes. We kind of touched on the iCache piece because that was one of the ones I was going to kind of spend a little bit more time talking about. But Kimmy, you gave us a real good breakdown. And people are by now familiar with why iCache is so important to us, along with server meshing and everything else. By the way, Kimmy, remember I told you last week, but there was something I had to tell you. Yes. Okay. Earlier this year, you and I had a bet that Vulcan would be out by the end of this year. Oh, he remembers. Yes, yes.
I remember Vulcan.
Yeah. You don't remember the bet. Yeah, of course not. Okay. But anyway, we did have a bet.
It's not going in my favor.
Well, you know what? Right. Well, you know what? I would also say this. Maybe you would have been on point if in light of COVID not happening too, because I'm sure that it had some impact on the development of that. But you and I were both looking forward and hoping that Vulcan would be out this year, because it would make a tremendous difference in gameplay for many people who are into Star Citizen. So let's hope that we do see something for that, because I didn't see anything yet about Vulcan. Yet, but let's see. And the other thing I want to talk about is
keep in mind that there's only 20 disciplines and there's another 30 that they have yet to
plenty, right?
The roadmap. So
that's true. If you guys want to switch over to the progress tracker real quick. If you guys haven't had a chance to look at it yet, the progress tracker 0.005. This is their first iteration of it. But you guys know that this was the progress tracker that CIG said that they would be giving to the community.
I'm going to spend hours on this.
Standard Dev, thank you for the subscription for 8 months. This guy has always been supporting us. And Zomax, thank you for the follow. We appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll get it in January, the rest of the disciplines.
Okay. And so, as you guys know, when you look at this right now, you can see they have all these different categories: the actor feature team, the actor tech team. I won't go through all of them, but all the teams now are reporting in real time their deliverables and their progress in the game. Now, one of the things that they wanted us to know is that it doesn't mean necessarily that when one thing you see is finished, that it means it's going to come out right away, because some things are contingent upon other things. But they do want us to be able to see how they're progressing with the development of the game, because a lot of people felt, and rightfully so, that last year was another one of those kind of silent years in relation to the progress of the game. Now, mind you, this one is in relation to both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So make sure if you're curious about the Squadron 42 stuff, you check that out. Don't forget some of the things are tied together as well. So that's another thing to give great consideration to. Okay, it looks like we got some people who responded to the survey. I'm gonna hit it one more time. And if you didn't get to fill out the survey, this is your opportunity to do so. But we are going to bring that up on screen, and then we can talk about what was, wow, the survey changed dramatically. It really changed dramatically from what it was earlier. And hopefully you guys will be able to see this, so bear with me. I've got to move some screens here to make this readable.
Kimmy, for you to pay off that bet, wasn't it that you had to take your Origin patch off?
I don't have an Origin.
Bottom of your shoe. Is that what it?
What is that again? Oh my God!
You have to take the Origin patch and stick it on the bottom of your shoe and walk around, right?
Hey, you got it, man. I'll go ahead and do that now. Holy smokes! Yeah, that's a sensitive subject. Talking about the Origin manufacturer around here.
You guys aren't Origin fans.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
You're speaking to one of the factory authorized representatives right now.
God.
So there are other haters.
Whenever I talk about Origin, I'm gonna get a lecture either for or against the company. It's never just a simple, yeah, man, Origin, yeah, they're cool. It's like, no.
It's one of our running jokes that a couple of us are big into the Origin stuff. Okay, so I just lost the dog on screen. Here we go. Okay, all right. So if you guys can see that, and I know the type is very small, so I'm going to try to read what these categories are. And I know, host, if you guys can't read it, bear with me here. This graphic changed dramatically just within the time frame that people responded. But it has right now that the number one thing that people want to see happen in 2021 is iCache.
Yes.
And so evidently the community understands the importance of it and the need for having it in game. And so, again, if this is one of the original iterations in the first quarter and we see it continue to build through next year, hopefully they'll get it nailed down and it'll be fully functional in 2021. And it will be, as Kimmy always tells us, it'll be a game changer. Number 3 on the far left there is a new roadmap for Squadron 42. So, we got part of it in the tracker. I know people are looking for an actual roadmap.
Okay.
Hopefully we will see that. And that was Space Clown. Thank you. Oh my God, 3 months. Space Clown 420. Thank you for that subscription. We appreciate it. So that was number 3. Now there's a tie. Guys, who is that now? Somebody's following. The Bodecal. Thank you for the follow. The next tie would come between player increase on servers and the Pyro system. Let me throw this out to the hosts here. Kimmy, if you had to pick between those two, which one would you want to see first? The player increase or the Pyro system?
I would say, oh gosh. Holy smokes, that's a really good one. I would have to say Pyro because it's no point in having the player increase and people just standing around, and then it's something toxic could happen if there's nothing to do. Okay. So give me Pyro because it gives people destinations and things of discovery.
All right, Space Tomato, which one do you want, Pyro or the player increase?
Is this in a vacuum or is this given the current context of the game?
Let's say that this is for 2021. If they added it in 2021, that's what the thing is based on.
All right. If they had to add one of these and ditch one of these other ones for the new year, I would say player increase.
Okay, you take the player increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Unique, how about you? Player increase or Pyro system?
Well, I don't think you get player increase without server meshing, so you're going to wait a long time for that to happen. I think they can bring Pyro in sooner and start jumping between other systems with everybody, since this is a space game. That's a core thing everybody would love to do. Like, how do I navigate a wormhole and get to a whole new solar system, trade with a whole new solar system across that? That opens a lot of that gameplay and shows that it's all possible. I think that's a missing piece that will really show that this game is possible and that it can be finished. So I think it would give all the players much more bang for the buck than another 50 people per server.
Okay, fair enough.
But tomatoes to tomatoes point, as you know, if you're already invested in game as an org member, and then you're able to do operations based on org centric things. And yeah, it's going to increase, and it's going to be a lot of PvP. But at the same time, you will have that much needed interaction of doing org operations and going against other orgs to see how good you are in game. So yeah, it's good points on either side of that between those two.
Well, I just wanted to put out the reason I said player increase, and actually Unique kind of got on that. The player increase would probably come with server meshing, and we won't get server meshing we won't get pyro until we get server meshing.
This is just a wish list.
Yeah, it's just a wish list. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so here's the next. There are 4 in the next category. The first one is docking, in-vehicle spawning, Quanta/Quantum, and theaters of war. So let me start with that. Tomato, which one would you want to see? Docking, in-vehicle spawning, Quantum, or theaters of war?
Well, my first pick would be Quantum. So that's what I would go with between those ones.
Okay. Quantum. You want to see the economy and the whole AI thing popping into the game, basically.
Yeah. I want to start to see what the simulation is going to do to affect the game.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you?
I am going to ride and die with Tony Zurovec.
Okay.
It's all about that quantum system and actually values of things changing, and that supply and demand always fluctuating, and you're chasing, and you have to be informed or get information based on what the economy is doing. So you're chasing after that bottom line as it changes dynamically. So 100%, it's all about Tony Z.
Mad Style, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. We're going to hear James Brown 5 times, y'all. Okay.
Oh my God. Here we go.
But thank you, Mad Style. You all give Mad Style a thanks, those of you who he bequeathed those gifts to. That's awesome.
Let's have a Mad Style.
Okay, Unique. I'm going to put it on you. Docking, Quantum, in-vehicle spawning, or Pyro. I'm sorry, not Pyro. Theaters of War.
Okay, so being starved of a lot of the playable content thing, I would really like Theaters of War. I think it's going to be interesting. I think with the limited amount of players per server, it's going to give the best bang for buck to let us squander a whole bunch of time and actually be happy with the gameplay while they work on some of these serious things that are going to take a long time.
Good point.
So I think it's just going to help keep us busy.
Okay, fair enough.
On other things.
All right, fair enough. Now, I'm going to get your opinion on this one. No one picked these 4. So I would love to know if there was one of these that you would like to see, because I'm surprised on a couple of these and no one picked them. The first one is Orison. The next one is Homesteads. The next one is seeing us go from DirectX to Vulkan. And then the last one is underwater points of interest, being able to go in the water and underwater. Tomato, any of those interest you?
The renderer changeover, obviously, I think is the most important thing there.
Okay, DirectX to Vulkan.
Yeah.
Okay, Kimmy?
I've talked about this since 2014. Underwater gameplay, it hails back to Jacques Cousteau. It hails back to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So much history and lore to the aspects of underwater gameplay, and then it opens up the version 2.0 of mining, kelp farming, 2.0 of civilizations being discovered, and also 2.0 of layers or hangars that's built underwater, as well as locations that you can basically swim to or use the submersible to go to.
Okay.
So definitely underwater for me.
Okay. And Unique.
I'm a Mr. Space Tomato on this one. That's the thing you really need.
You're looking to see better performance.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, very, very cool. I'm going to actually say something really crazy. I'm looking forward to homesteads. And only because not just to have empty buildings down there, but I'm looking forward to them in the sense of being able to have AI and missions and other things that are on the moons and planets other than just, the things that we have right now. I'm looking forward to the stuff that they showed us a few weeks ago really got me excited. And I'm just kind of looking forward to that. But in the truth of the matter is, when you look at it, the DirectX peeps, I agree 100%. To see performance get raised for everybody. Some of us have the more higher end PCs and performance is there. But to see us go to Vulkan will definitely improve performance for a lot of people that are playing Star Citizen, and it would be very cool to see that come into fruition. So, okay,
that kind of improved performance opens up enough CPU so that the actual AI guys stop standing on chairs and stop.
You don't like T-posing. You got to.
And from the things that they're saying in the engineering sections of the monthly reports, it sounds like it could also improve the actual looks of the game quite a bit.
Yes, absolutely.
They're gonna need server ticks to go up, guys, as far as NPCs standing or T-posing. It's gonna have to, and they don't need high frame rates for the server ticks. They just need it to sustain double digits, and it will be fine. So, in order to do that, to stop the NPCs from T-posing, they will have to actually get server timing, basically have servers work in sync. Mm-hmm. Their timing is going to be in sync, and then they can get the tick rates up just to double digits, and then you're going to see a dramatic change and difference in how the NPCs actually work in game.
Pramster, thank you for that 4-month Prime subscription. Thank you so much. I do want to give a shout out to one of our followers here. I'm trying to pull this up real quick to surprise him a little bit. Nice. Let's see. Bear with me here. Boom. All right. That is from Mad Style. Mad Style did that for us, gang. He has been throwing out these little animations and GIFs and posting them. And, I don't want you to think we didn't see it. Mad Style was a crazy week with the holiday, but I want to tell you, thank you. That was so cool of you to do some work. And plus you saved me from having to do some work, so I really appreciate it. So thank you for that. He's got another one that he sent, but I didn't have time to pull the link up for it. But thank you. We do appreciate that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the theory crafting side of this whole thing.
Yes,
yeah,
that's my jam, baby.
Okay, for
activated.
Yeah, for 2021, and I didn't get to prep these guys on this, so it's going to take them a couple seconds to answer the question. All right, but for 2021, there's a lot that you could be asking for in relation to Star Citizen. And basically the question is this. I mean, even though we looked at our own survey and what we saw on the roadmap, what are you looking forward to seeing happen in Star Citizen? And it could be in relation to anything you want. It could be about mechanics. It could be gameplay. It could be ships. It could be technology, whatever the case you want to be. Tomato, I'll go with you in anything that you might think you want to project.
Give me no time to think. Can I just say the whole game completed? What is one thing I want to see? It's like everything.
I want it all.
That's a fair question.
Oh man,
yeah, fair. Yeah.
Send his check in, so he's ready.
I would say, sheesh. You know what? All things considered, I think I'm really, really excited, and I don't think they've really talked about this. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if this is going to be a thing. It would be a lofty goal, but to create player-made missions. So not just to hire somebody with a beacon, but to actually set out a goal for that player. My perfect play style is to be a part-time information broker and part-time explorer, and I want to be able to explore and get the information I need, but also set up missions to get people to go get information, for people to deliver my own information, and for people to come back to me for that same information. So I want things that make that possible.
Okay. So this is something that allows you to create your own form of gameplay.
Yeah, which I think is probably what people mean when they say they want gameplay. Like, everybody wants to play their own pocket of what this game is supposed to give to the world. That's why we all love the game. I just want the stuff that's going to make my pocket possible.
Okay. Kimmy, how about you? 2021, what would you like to see if there was something that you could put in next year in the game, whether it's on the map or not? What's something you would like to see happen?
And this is a wish list, of course, right? So a culmination of at least 10 systems and 5 career gameplay loops.
10 systems.
I'm good.
10 systems. Yes. That's ambitious. 10 systems, but it would be interesting. We've talked about this before on the show, that even though Chris has said 100 systems, we've already talked about if he gets 40 or 50 systems in here, that's a lot of real estate. It's a lot of real estate.
That's a lot.
So when you start talking about 100, if he doesn't deliver 100, I'm okay. But 50, I look at how big Stanton is now, and I know there are systems that are bigger even than Stanton, and it's crazy. Yes, it is crazy. Unique, I'm gonna drop it on you. If there was something in 2021 you'd like to see pop up in relation to Star Citizen, what would it be?
I'd like to see game loop completed on a couple of the careers. Would be nice, you know. And whether mining would be good to get stuff started. I think they can do the medical so that people can fight, they can get injured, that kind of thing. I don't think those are too far-fetched to get in 2021. And then one solar system, get that in there, let us jump out, have battles and go across this thing, start creating game content even amongst the players just for that. Like you said, Tomato was about creating your own content kind of thing like that. If that becomes possible, I'm sure Twitch Pacheco will put out a bounty on him.
Yeah.
Because she's taking her gameplay and so she might kill him. But that's okay too.
Yeah. DB Billings, I love DB Billings' comment. He says, I'd like CIG to put something in the game that allows cargo runners to systematically protect their cargo from 30 Ks while iCache is being worked on. That's funny. For me, I would have to go with Uniques a little bit. I would love to see 3 careers completed that they've started to hint to. The first one being bounty hunting. We have it in relation to the flight bounty hunting, but they gave us the Cutlass Blue. They gave us the stasis chambers. We've seen in the new animation the handcuffs. I would love to see that become implemented into the game. That bounty hunting move to that space. The other career I would love to see move into a space is, as you mentioned, Unique, medical, because medical is something that definitely there are a lot of people who would love to be doing those careers. Gives greater worth to the Cutlass Red, gives a reason for the Apollo to show up, and just the fact that everybody could have some form of using some form of that in the sense of rescue, the Cutlass Red working like an ambulance, whatever the case may be. The last one for me would be cargo. They've put in the cargo docks, but we don't have the true mechanic for it yet. And when I can start mining and refining and storing my cargo in certain places and selling it based on price or trading it off with other people, with the whole cargo areas docks that are in the game now, I would love to see those 3 careers kick off in 2021, and it would give more people more gameplay versus right now mining kind of has the biggest emphasis and somewhat of PvP. So those would be my wishes for next year in 2021. Chewy Demands, thank you for the follow. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. And Space Tomato, where are you? Thank you for the follow. We appreciate that.
Didn't realize I wasn't following.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay.
I'd like to make a quick comment.
Sure.
The person's talking about the 30Ks.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still in there with 312, but in the past, you've been able to check in with a space station. You don't actually have to land, but if you contact a space station like you're going to land, before you start zooming across the thing, it usually does a good checkpoint. And usually your cargo survives if you do a 30K. So try that and see if that still works.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's an interesting tip.
iCache is supposed to help out big time with that.
That is an interesting tip. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that. Okay, well, we are going to wrap it up. This is an early one. I know guys usually go almost 2 hours, but we knew this was going to be a short one. It's the holiday weekend still, and I don't want to keep everybody tied up this week, but we want to say thank you to all of you all who've been supporting us through this year. We started in March. It is December. And as I mentioned earlier, I think this is episode number 42. So you guys have gotten us through a lot of episodes and you guys have supported us. And we really, really appreciate your support, both on Soul Citizens and as well on Friday Night Live, our second show that we do. And so we just want to tell you, thank you for all the support, whether it's you followed, whether you just listened in, whether you subscribed, whether you sent bits, whatever the case may be. We really, really appreciate you guys supporting us. You guys have been really great to us, and we just have one of the best communities. Star Citizen community is one of the best communities ever. Zaylin Maru, thank you for closing us out. Thank you, appreciate that.
Friday night one next Friday?
No, I was going to say we're as you guys know, last week we didn't do a Friday Night Live because we're taking a break because of the holiday, because it landed on Christmas for those of us who celebrate Christmas. And this Friday will be New Year's, and so we won't be having a Friday Night Live on this Friday either, but we'll be back in January of 2021. We will be doing a Soul Citizens on next Sunday, though, so we do have a whole new set of shows for next quarter that we're going to be doing that we're really, really excited about, and we hope you guys can join us for that. But in the meantime, let's let everybody close out. Space Tomato, tell people where they can find you.
Anywhere, really. I've got a YouTube channel. That's where I do most of my work. I publish videos every single week, multiple times a week. News, opinions, cinematics, whatever you want. I'm here on Twitch as well under It's Space Tomato. And I am also on Twitter and Instagram under that same name, It's Space Tomato. I'm also on Facebook, but that's Facebook. Mm-hmm. So yeah, feel free to look me up on YouTube or Twitch. That's where I spend most of my time.
Yeah, and make sure it's Space Tomato. Listen, man, I don't know what the deal is with the name Space Tomato. You got so many people out there who want that name. It took me forever to find you. I was like, what the heck is Space Tomato? Why is that so popular? There was so many variations.
Somebody signed up. I think actually 2 people now have signed up for Star Citizen since I took this name with the name Space Tomato. And then they pick a different handle or something so it doesn't actually count. And I'm like, what? Every single time somebody adds me, they're like, are you Sergeant Tomato or Space Tomato?
Something popular about that name, but
I don't know, I guess.
Well, again, thanks for coming on the show this week. We really, was looking forward to it. You and I have been corresponding for a few months, and we finally made it happen. So we're glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
Kimmy, where can people find you?
Oh man, you can find me here, Soul Citizens, sometimes on Friday Night Live, and you will also find me on my channel on Twitch, Kimmy65. I'm talking game content of Star Citizen, gameplay, as well as technical advice on controllers, setups, hardware, you name it. Just check me out.
All righty. And last but not least, Unique, where can people find you?
Oh, well, evidently I'm becoming a special guest host, or my profession is a guest host on all of these shows. So right now, that's where you can find me. I don't stream. I'm not on Twitch or anything like that. I'm busy building a new business right now. But once I'm done with that, I'll try to make myself much more available. But I've been around a long time, so if you do have, like you said, Kimmy, you got questions, if these guys can't answer or support, I'm happy to help them support you.
Awesome
Stuff. Awesome. And again, we want to thank you guys for all that you guys have done for us as Star Citizens and as the Soul Citizens team. And right now, we are going to see who we can send you lovely people to.
You mind if I?
Yeah.
You mind if I?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Space Tomato.
No, you go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask if I could make a plug.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. Plug away. Plug away.
I just put out my closing video for the year.
Yes,
which I'm very proud of. It's a tour of the Idris, which will be in Squadron 42, and also we can fight in the PU right now. So if you want to check that out, hit me up on YouTube. It's a cool video. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you guys like it.
And we will make sure that we do a retweet on it, because we usually try to keep up with his videos when they come out, because they're really, really good stuff, and his production quality is awesome. So you get to hear that awesome voice again. So you guys make sure you follow It's Space Tomato and support him as well. We're going to go ahead and send you guys over to was he playing? What is he playing? Oh, he's doing donations and stuff too. No, I'm not going to go to Xylo. No, Xylo's not out, but we will send everybody over to Let's go toward, you know what we'll do? We'll go to the man himself, Uber Nerd, because Uber Nerd is always sending people our way. So we'll send you guys to him.
And he's playing Star Citizen, people.
Okay, my goofy.
Awesome.
I can't believe my Twitch just decided to just completely flip out on me. I tell you, where's Fast Cart when you need him? Where is Fast Cart when you need him? All right, guys, hang on here.
Thanks for coming, everybody. I really appreciate it.
7 guys.
Yeah,
There
see
we
you guys
go.
later.
All right,
Thanks for
guys.
coming out for
Take
this
care of yourself. Have a great holiday. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves.
Yes. Happy
and
New Year's, guys.
as always, guys, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Say hi to Uber Nerd for us.